40% podcast. I'm 40% podcast. You know I'm 40% podcast, baby. You know I'm 40% podcast. You know I'm 40% podcast, baby. I'm only 40%. Go. 40% podcast. I'm 40% podcast.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jinkx Monsoon, and welcome to I'm 40% podcast. With me as always is this stinky little
I don't know why you
pile of
paused. That's
shit.
just what I do now. You should expect the woo.
You told me not to call you a little piece of shit anymore, so what do you think?
I'm not trying to
think
throw
of
you off anymore. We're in a collaborative mode in our.
What do you think of stinky
friendship.
little pile of hormones?
No.
Anyway,
I think you're embarrassing me extra because you know that I love our guests so much, and you're trying to make me look like a fool.
oh, like you did to me in front of Margaret Cho. Anyway, our guest today is LA legend, may I say? A comedian, an all-around funny lady. It's Roz Hernandez. Hello, Roz.
Oh my God. Hi, you guys. I'm so excited to be here.
You look excited.
I told Nick ahead of time, I've never seen this TV show, but I love learning about new cultures. And I love.
And this is a great episode for that.
Yeah.
What a great first episode to watch. Probably not confusing at all.
I have so many questions. I don't know who these people are. I don't know if they're people. I don't know what any of this is. But I love the opportunity to talk to people, and that's why I'm here. And please help me to understand what's going on.
Do you not talk to enough people in your day-to-day life?
Only if it's being recorded.
Oh, okay.
It would seem I just sit here in my little castle, very, very little castle, and just talk to people and record it, and it's broadcasted for people to listen to. Like on my own podcast, Ghosted by Roz Hernandez.
Ghosted. I was a guest on Ghosted. Have you been a guest on Ghosted, Nick?
No, when Roz and I...
because you don't believe in ghosts, you little shit.
That's exactly what happened is Roz politely asked me if I wanted to come on the podcast, and I said, yes, of course. Just fair warning, I do not even a little bit believe in ghosts. So can we do an episode on that? And she said, no, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. That's like the only thing that the only requirement is you have to be down to, you don't necessarily have to have experiences of your own, but you have to believe in it, or at least, I don't know, be fun about it.
Yeah, be fun about it, Nick. Why aren't you more fun about things?
Well, I think that's sort of the same criteria we have here on I'm 40% podcast. You don't have to believe in Futurama, but you do have to have fun with it and have some experiences.
So you get it.
Yeah.
So, Roz,
I'm just more stubborn than you, I guess.
Roz, as a first-time Futurama viewer, what were your initial impressions of the show? Just nothing about the plot. Just what were your initial thoughts, feelings, and emotions?
I actually thought it was really funny. And
it is.
I would like to watch more, to be honest with you. I don't know why I just never got around to it. I mean, I'm sure you guys already know this, but I did learn last night that the woman with the one large eye is the same lady that played Peg Bundy. So,
Katie Seagal.
Yep,
Yes.
I learned that, and
Hello,
I really
I'm
like
Katie
her.
Seagal.
So I'm excited to explore more. There were some great jokes, and I used to watch Family Guy, and then I just kind of really fell off, and I don't. The past few times I tried watching newer episodes, I was like, this is not. Yeah. It's not.
You do any Simpsons? You ever check in on those Simpsons?
Not really. I did as a kid, but it's nice to see that
then I
like
grew up.
it's nice to see that these new episodes are like funny. Like I thought there was like
Yeah.
actually good jokes in there, even not knowing who these characters are.
Yeah, it's a very well written show, and its glory seasons, I think, are some of the best like comedy writing on television for its time. And that's why it keeps coming back, because it's got a solid foundation. It's got good bones. Like all shows that have had many, many seasons, it's got its real clunker episodes. But, you know, everyone's focus is on this new season, and they have been delivering thus far. So it's been
Two
fun
episodes
to watch.
in, both are funny and good.
So, as somebody that wants to like get into this, where should I start?
You should start at the beginning, watch the first 3 seasons right away.
Okay.
And then, you know, then go on to watch at your leisure the rest, and knowing full well that there are some seasons that are like, what was going on here?
Okay.
Gaslight season.
But once
Yeah.
you fall in love with them, you can kind of forgive, you know.
Oh, yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I always say, like, SNL, for example, is my sports. Like, I don't care about sports, but I'm always excited to see who's going to be on the season this year when the draft happens, you know, or whatever.
Do you
and
get excited for those Post-its on the corkboard?
Yes, I do. And I know that there's some seasons are not as strong as others, but like I stick around and when it's right, it's right.
Yeah. You know, and what I can say about Futurama, but more than many shows I've binge watched multiple times, even the worst episodes, even the episodes that I'm most inclined to skip over, even those episodes have amazing jokes.
Yeah.
Just to give you a little taste of a past season, there's an episode where they're campaigning for human rights, and basically there's a ghost in the audience, and the ghost is booing something, but he's booing it as a ghost, and he's
Why
like,
is this your one example of the thousands of jokes that have been on Futurama?
because it's a ghost, and Roz.
There's so many ghost jokes. We just covered an episode with robot
Whatever.
ghosts.
Let's get to the episode.
Brief acknowledgement. We still stand with the writers and the actors in the strike. Do what you can to support them, even if it's just, I don't know, sharing a post, bringing them some Gatorade,
I'll tell you how
giving
you
them a
can
little
support.
honk.
I'll tell you how you can support actors and writers right now. Well, first of all, both the Actors Guild, the Writers Guild and the Actors Union, both have disaster relief funds set up if you are wanting to donate some shekels to some starving writers and actors. But also, I just want to kindly request, if you are not in the industry, maybe you don't need to share comments on it if they're not comments of support, because I'm seeing a lot of actors getting very frustrated that people are like, oh, well, maybe if you did it this way. It's like, can we just
Shut
trust
up.
that if there was some way to do it better from our end, we would already be doing it? Like, a strike is like when all other options have failed. So people who have no idea how the industry truly works, if you're not part of the industry, don't, like I always say, we all have opinions, but we're not all experts. I'm not going to go to my hotel concierge to check a mole on my back to see if it's cancerous. So let's all just understand that people know what's best for them, and maybe just let them do that.
That's great.
Very well said.
I'm happy
Roz,
you said that.
follow-up thoughts?
I think that was wonderful.
Great.
And
Let's talk
you
about
should
this
get
cartoon.
that mole looked at by a professional.
Start us
This
off,
episode is called, I forgot, I'm supposed to write down the episode title and the original air date, and I forgot to do that. It's Children of a Lesser Bog, and it aired on Monday. There is no cold open. There is no cold open. We have a Chiron. The Chiron says, anything happened while we were out? And this is funny, but as far as I'm concerned, this is the last joke that we get to make about, hey, we were gone for a while. So I only give it 4 Chirons out of 5 Chirons.
I'll give it a solid 4, yeah.
Roz, how did you feel about this Chiron, and what would you rate it?
It's the first one for me, so the joke's not old to me. So
Okay,
I
great.
liked it.
1 to 5 chirons?
I'd give it a 5.
5 chirons.
Thank you,
Wow.
Roz.
High scoring chiron. We open on Fry sucking on his jacket lapel, which I thought was very disgusting because I guess I can just imagine what it would feel like in my mouth when I watch him do it.
Listen, as a kid who used to like, I used to
Are you
have
going to
a
say the
sleeve.
washcloth thing?
No, I had a sleeve for wiping my nose, and I had a sleeve for chewing on as a kid. And even just remembering the feeling of that soppy, wet cotton in my mouth, like I don't know why it was a security thing as a kid, but as an adult, I'm like, I can't think of anything grosser. So yeah, Fry's gross.
Yeah, that was pretty gross.
I immediately thought of when I was a kid, I used to suck the water out of a washcloth when I was in the tub.
It tastes
Which I know
different,
other
right?
kids did, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's always going to be sort of a clothing taste that you
Roz,
didn't. Yeah.
Have you sucked on any weird fabrics, I guess, is what I'm asking.
Not that I can think of, to be honest with you. I have not sucked on. No, I haven't sucked on enough fabric. God, you guys are just pointing out all the things I haven't done in my life. I haven't watched Futurama and I haven't sucked on fabrics. Let's keep the list going.
Well, in that case, we'll move on to the next 5 seconds of the episode. The entire office is watching him suck on his lapel, and they think it's adorable and pathetic. And they walk in and surprise him. And for a second, you think Fry's going to be like, oh, I hope you didn't see that. But he's just like, hey, guys, I was just sucking on my jacket. Kind of proud of it.
Then he reveals that it's like
it's
what's
a
left
candy.
over from a candy from his era. And they're making a joke about this really gross old candy called Bit-O Honey that was just literally honey-flavored sugar. And it was just a hunk of honey-flavored sugar. It didn't have much more going on for it other than that.
Yeah, it's called
good.
Clumpo Honey, this parody of it.
Yeah.
What is
Bit-O
the
Honey.
Why do you know about this and I don't? Is this a regional thing?
No, I think it's just...
Isn't Matt Groening from Portland?
No, it was like a Halloween candy. It was like cheap Halloween candy, That was I think they were unloading a bunch of old Bit-O Honey that didn't sell. So they packaged them together in like Halloween packages. And because these candies, they were like, if I'm remembering correctly, they were like little rectangle slabs of just pure like sugar honey plaster. And they looked like really cheap hotel soap, but smaller.
What this is reminding me of is that one of my favorite candies, and during lockdown, I happened to live next to a place that was supplying me with sugar babies. Remember these? They're kind of that. I mean, they're not honey.
Just
They're
little
more
bean,
caramel.
Yeah, they're bean-shaped caramel beans.
And there's also the sugar daddy, which is like sort of a rectangle-shaped chew.
Yeah.
And I can't find these anywhere. I almost ordered some online because I can't find them. They're nowhere to be found.
Lots
You're
of
looking for
candies.
sugar daddies online there, Roz?
I've been looking for sugar daddies online, and I can't get any. But they're nowhere. And
How does a
if
candy
anyone
go
listening
extinct
knows,
like that?
well, I was wondering if it had something to do with like how that name has changed. Like now, sugar babies means something else, but I don't know. Or maybe they're just not popular. Maybe I'm the only person that likes them.
Well,
but
I can think of a lot of candies that like sugar babies, sugar daddies, Bit-O Honey, Necco wafers. What are
Necco, gross.
Remember Peter Pan brand peanut butter cups? Yeah, Peter Pan I think was before Reese's, but then Reese's came along and blew them out of the water. And I only know these candies because they were given to me at Halloween, by cheap people in the neighborhood who were unloading old candy on the kids.
while we're on the topic, because here's one thing I do know about is candy. There's a candy that's also very rare that if I find it, I hoard it. It is called trolley eggs. Now, we're seeing a theme here. I like little, like, jelly bean shaped things. And they are, I think, in the origin story of trolley worms, these are the eggs that they come from. And so they're basically like the worms, but with a sugar coating. And they're a little crunchy on the outside, chewy in the inside. I know a place in Atwater Village that has them. And I usually go in there and I buy about 6 of them every time they restock. But they are good. Okay, back to Futurama.
Yeah, thank you for illuminating us about Bitter Honey, because I didn't get all these jokes about them changing it into glue or whatever. It became an industrial glue. They reclassified it. So they decided to make more of this candy using the original recipe. And you see them just stirring a bunch of honey in a cauldron. And they give the professor a little sip of it, and he immediately goes into diabetic shock. So they make it less sweet by adding more sugar. Yeah. Thoughts?
This is one of those things I don't understand. I'm like, is this part of the lore or the what?
The
did
professor
these characters
is just very old. He's afflicted with many, many ailments. Fry and Bender are idiots that will just do anything out of boredom. So they're they're trying to recreate this candy from Fry's time. Fry comes from our time. Fry was frozen alive
in 1999.
So he's like our age experiencing the future, and we're meant to see the future kind of through Fry's eyes.
I don't think I've ever been more jealous of a person than when you said he got frozen in 1999. That's amazing.
Right before everything went downhill.
My favorite part of this bit is that they go on talking about things, and then the professor's like, I'm dying down here. Like, they're just so used to the professor being at death's door. They don't care anymore. Poor professor.
I had to look up what treacle was. Does everyone know what treacle is?
Yes,
no,
it's like
it's
Everyone softly mutters about treacle.
It's popular in the UK. It's like molasses, but doesn't have as deep of a flavor. It's just a very sugary syrup.
Okay. I had to look it up.
Treacle.
They all stand around eating the candy, and it's so sticky that it pulls out Amy's teeth, which is a reason for her to open up her calendar and realize that 20 years ago she made an appointment for her children to be born.
So I do like that they gave an explanation about Amy and Kiff's kids for, there's going to be people who are joining Futurama for the first time,
Like
Roz.
Thank you.
Do you feel like they did a good job explaining Amy and Kiff's children to you and why they had to wait 20 years for their kids to emerge from a swamp? Did you feel clued in?
Yeah, it made sense. Again, I feel like I'm sort of in someone else's home and I'm just whatever. Okay. Oh, if that's how you guys do things around here. Okay. Oh, I'm just learning. I will respectfully just, okay, good. Great.
That's how I felt the first time I had dinner at my Mormon's friend's house.
Exactly. Yeah.
I will say that when Kiff said, oh, it was 20, and you see the clip from the old episode where he's like, in 20 years, we'll be able to come get our kids. And then I looked at the real world calendar and I was like, oh my God, it's been 20 years. And I grabbed Sergio by the wrist and he was like, it's not that cool. But I think it's cool because it's the same as when Twin Peaks went off the air and they were like, in 25 years, we'll come back. And then they did.
Well, I think it's cool because we could have just never gone back, and we could have, since they illuminated that they don't know where they really are in the timeline, but the atomic year is 3023. I don't know. They could have just never revisited the topic of Amy and Kiff's kids, and we probably would have forgotten about it. except for me because I'm a Virgo and I would have been waiting for those kids to emerge.
Do you have any shows like that, Roz, where you just know the lore and you feel like maybe you know the lore better than the people writing the show?
No. But I don't. But I love it.
I wanna ask. What did I want to ask?
I don't know. Do you want me to talk about the show and we'll come back to it?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Kiff and Amy are excited to be parents. They return to Amphibios 9. And then Amy's parents are there. And we have Amy's mom and then Amy's dad with a new voice actor for representation reasons and
yes.
Political correctness reasons. Good decision.
Yes. Roz, Amy's dad used to be voiced by Billy West, who does like the voices of half the characters on the show. He's like Futurama, Stan Castellaneta. And so he previously did a stereotypical Asian accent for Amy's father. What I kind of found interesting was when we had Lauren Tom, who voices Amy and Amy's mother. Lauren Tom is Asian, and she kind of like nostalgically giggled about teaching Billy West how to do a Chinese accent. And, there was something about her being so kind of like, yeah, we've changed the voice actor now. And so Billy doesn't do the voice anymore, but Billy and I had fun doing those characters together. I don't know. I feel like I get so up in arms about those kind of things that I forget to kind of like follow the cues of the people actually affected by it. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, just like Family Guy, I think Cleveland was played by a white man.
That was a big change, right?
And wasn't Simpsons, I can't think of the characters.
Apu.
Yeah,
it's an ongoing thing in animation in general.
Yeah. And so
Definitely.
I'm glad that the issue is being addressed. And then I was also glad to see that Lauren Tom was just kind of like, yeah, we don't do that anymore. And it's kind of like, if that's, the attitude the voice actors have, then I'm going to calm down a little bit and just welcome the progress.
Right. Well, and I think that a lot of times when these shows started, it's like there probably absolutely were people up in arms, but like we just weren't talking about it the way that we are now. And I don't think that they took into consideration the things that they do now. And I think it's all for the better these days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a change for the better, and this new voice actor fits right in. I'm excited that he's joining the team. Don't have his name in front of me, but he's a great man, and I love him.
You're a terrible historian.
I will say
so
this
the grand
was
midwife comes out.
I thought this was the funniest scene of this.
Oh, the
Yes.
grand midwife? She is
like
one of the best characters.
The grand midwife is she has my favorite line of the entire show. I say it constantly. She, when we first meet the grand midwife, it's when Kiff gives birth to the babies. And she says, "The ceremony is over. I live here, so I'm not going anywhere, but you don't have to talk to me anymore." I say that every time I leave a party at my house, every time I'm hanging out with the housemates. I'm like, I'm going to be going away now. Please don't talk to me anymore. Even if you see me like going to the bathroom or getting water, please don't talk to me anymore for the rest of the night.
I have clocked out. Great. I want to come to one of these parties sometime, by the way. But, and don't worry, I won't talk to you. I loved her line about the tips, like her little tip jar, her little... That was so funny to me.
I do this ceremony to honor our people's traditions and not for the optional cash donation that people sometimes put in that little basket. It's green. It has a sign on it.
And then we get a joke about Amy's parents being cheap when I don't know that I fully understand. He rings a dollar bill out. I know rich people are cheap, but he rings a dollar bill out and dimes come out of it.
It was funny.
I guess. It was a little Scrooge McDucky, but
Yeah, that was again one of these things where I'm like, okay, that's what happens on this show. I don't know.
The grand midwife is like, okay, it's time for the emergence, but then it doesn't happen right away. So she like tries to vamp with some crowd work, which I liked.
That was funny to me too. She's like,
So,
is
where's
anyone
the
from out
roof?
of town or
Yeah,
whatever?
it's
Yeah.
good.
God, I've been there.
And then finally the tadpoles emerge. Hundreds of tadpoles start swimming out of the swamp. And Amy's excited that there's going to be hundreds of babies. But the grand midwife reveals that it is time for the winnowing. And we watch most of these babies, like 95% of them, get eaten by crocodiles or dragonflies or fish. Also, the
Was
poisonous
anyone
frode. Jinkx, did you see the poisonous frode?
yes, I saw everything. Was anyone
Do you
else
get it?
like...
It was from the last time they were at this planet.
Yes,
in the
I
show.
remember the frode. Does anyone remember? I mean, did anyone else feel relieved that they weren't going to have 100 babies? Like, I was relieved empathetically for them, and I was relieved as a viewer that I wasn't going to have to meet 100 new characters. I think 3 was the sweet spot, and
Three's
the
kinda
funny, the funny alien
I don't remember all their names.
explanation for why they're all different ages. So we get to see Amy and Kiff be parents to a toddler, a child, and a teenager all
And
at
an emo.
once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roz, do you hope to have several children one day?
No. No, I don't.
Smart.
My dream is to have a backyard full of tortoises. That is
Ooh,
my
cute.
dream my whole life. I want tortoises to multiply in my backyard with little Pomeranians that ride on their backs.
You could do like a little saddle.
Yeah.
You're trying
Or,
to
like, what's it
recreate
called? Like
the
a
labyrinth?
You could do like a palanquin like on top of the turtle's back, and the little Pomeranians just sitting in a chair. That'd be cool.
That's my dream. No children, though, I don't think. But yeah, I'm glad there was a moment where I was like, this seems like chaos. There's going to be too many of these kids. I didn't want, because that could be like 101 Dalmatians or Gremlins or something where I have to learn, oh, this one's the nerdy one. This one's
Yeah.
I don't want to learn all that.
Yeah, by winnowing it down, we got to get more story and less like a montage of children.
Yes.
The general reaction to these 3 surviving children, it's 4 at first, but then one gets eaten on the shore, is that they are very ugly to look at. Like Amy's parents, their whole
have
thing is they
previously,
always
yes.
want grandchildren. It's the only thing they talk about.
And they even said when she, they didn't like Kiff after a while, but when she first got with Kiff, they were just happy that she was getting with someone who could give them grandkids. Now they finally have grandkids, and they don't want anything to do with them. Amy's parents are assholes.
They're really awful people.
Yeah, they seem like...
It's kind of amazing that Amy gets progressively cooler of a character when she was raised by such awful people.
Sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
I really like her Juicy Couture kind of jumpsuit
Oh, it's iconic.
situation. Yeah, it's cute with the midriff.
Well, this cartoon came about in the early 2000s, so what's the style of the time?
There you have it.
So the grand midwife chops off all their tails. They're no longer tadpoles. And then Zoidberg sneaks away with the bucket. He's going to eat the tails. It's pretty gross.
It is pretty gross.
I thought it was kind of funny.
And then, yeah, we get some more Amy grandparents being mean. And then we're back at the office, and everyone's eating a different food. The professor is eating fiber log in sauce. Zoidberg is eating a fish skeleton, and Leela is eating an entire rotisserie chicken just on a fork, and she's like taking bites out of it. And I really enjoyed that for her.
Leela's a little unhinged this episode. It's
She's
funny
out of it.
because Leela is always so like prudent and so like militant about her lifestyle, but we know that she has a slovenly side. We know that she can be a little crude, but it seems like Fry is starting to rub off on Leela because she's sitting around eating whole chickens. When she talks about being drunk, she's like,
well, I want to go back and watch that episode and rewatch it knowing that she was very drunk the whole time. I want to know if there's anything in there that,
Leela revealing
if she
that
falls over or something.
That she had a problem with alcohol in the past.
Well, maybe she's like great at her job. She's great at being a spaceship captain. But the second she like goes into her quarters, she's just like a sloppy mess until it's time to clock in.
Or she's a high-functioning alcoholic, and she's just really good at hiding.
Like a Brie Vandekamp type. Or a Charlotte. Wait, which one?
Wait, Charlotte's high-functioning alcoholic.
Which one?
Oh, Miranda. And that was like that was like a one episode arc too. It was like she was a drunk and then she wasn't.
I'm good now.
It was like, you're a drunk, and she was like, no, I'm not. And then it was like, you're a drunk, and she was like, okay, I am. And then she stopped drinking.
See,
I wish it was that
show
simple
I've never
for me.
Seen.
That's another podcast.
We talk about Sex and the City a little too much on this show.
I know.
Hermes asks why they're different sizes. We get the explanation, and we
they're from different
learn their names.
Depths of the pond.
Different temperatures and depths.
Yeah.
Newt is the smallest and is a Cyclops. Mandy is the kind of girlish middle one, and she sounds just like Amy. And then Axel is the sort of scruffy teenager one who sounds like Kiff. And these are our kids.
And
do we have a favorite?
Oh, clearly Axel. Not only do I identify with him, but like when I was that age, that was the boy I was like, the apathetic asshole that, you know, was too cool for everything. Ugh, that was like my target audience.
Yeah, I have pictures of me from that time period, and the few times I've showed them to people, they always say I look like Joan Jett. So I was very that person.
Maybe you need to like be Axel's love interest in the next season.
Yeah.
You don't want to be on Futurama? We're trying to hook you up, Roz.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, as a voice. Okay, yes.
You're not going to go into the show and become a cartoon.
I don't know how it works.
So we meet the kids. We meet their personalities.
Yeah, and Leela is confronted with the fact that these kids keep calling her mommy, and she doesn't remember that she is the one who impregnated Kiff. There was a whole scene where they found out who the parent was, and it was Leela.
Well, they kind of implied that Kiff... Okay, so Leela is the mother of all. There was a moment where they thought it could have been anyone. Leela is revealed to be the mother of all the kids. Yeah. But the fact that Kiff even got pregnant was due to his love for Amy. So that kind of explains why there's one kid that's a lot like Amy. There's one kid that's a lot like Kiff. And then, of course, we've got a Cyclops who has probably Leela's dominant mutant gene and is a Cyclops.
Did you know Leela was a mutant? Roz, is that new information?
Roz that. That's an
I
impossible
just
question.
found out that it's Katie Sagal. Like, I don't know anything.
So
we watch a sex video, like an olden-timey sex education video, and it's very funny because it's projected via hologram of an old TV, and they're all just gathered around looking at this 3D model of a TV. And the whole thing is, it's called Yowza Vision because the idea is we're going to see some like hot sex in it. But then they just touch fingers and Bender goes, that was pretty hot.
Reproduction, no matter what species or race, always involves a steamy display of blah, 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 except for the amphibioids. And so we learned that, basically, Kiff's whole race is beta soy boy cucks.
Roz, any comment?
That seems... I don't know if I like it. It's like, that's too easy to get pregnant.
Right?
Yeah, getting
Don't
pregnant
you think
should
you could
not
take
be
like
that
a prep that makes it so you can touch people even when you're feeling love for your smizmar?
Yeah, like a birth control of some sort. Or
Well, it
what
is
if
established that that's why he always wears gloves.
Yeah.
I was gonna
And
say, yeah,
it's
you could
only
wear
a
a silicone.
mishap. It's only a mishap that leads to him being gloveless. So.
His glove came off because the spaceship was decompressing and they were getting sucked out into space.
Yeah. So anyway, Kiff's the birth giver in this situation.
We get a montage set to a David Bowie song where they're being
kids.
Parents. And we see in the background the grand midwife is sneaking around and taking notes. What could she be doing?
And then after the montage, we've got Kiff and Amy saying, wow, raising 3 kids of different ages, it sure is tough. But at least we are
having
doing
a hot
it.
dog fight.
Yeah.
They're using hot dogs like swords.
Swords and mustards
Swatting
going
at
everywhere.
each other.
And then they say,
Disgusting.
at least we're doing it together. And then what happens? War declared.
Yeah, Kiff is called to duty. And there's a very funny
Roz,
scene
by the way,
where...
Kiff is in the military, the intergalactic military.
Yeah, I gathered that.
Did you gather it from his little outfit that he
No,
always wears?
I did notice at one point, like, he hugs Amy at a certain, like, early on, and I could see that he, like, doesn't wear panties under his under his little mini skirt.
He's a naughty lady.
That miniskirt is the military uniform chosen by the chauvinist, misogynist pig, Zap Brannigan, who is in charge of the military. He's the general of the military. And
he on the voice call is like, Kiff is like, is this about the presents for the kids? Yeah. And he's like, don't ask me about the presents for the kids, some of which are very large.
I bought many, many presents for them. But so he likes velour mini skirts, and that's why the military wears it. The situation is unclear, but they have to go figure out why a certain research base stopped responding.
Yeah. And we get a very funny scene where Kiff is flying off in the dupe mothership. And the Amy and the kids are all standing looking, and one by one they all start sobbing, including Amy, who falls to her knees, just shrieking out in pain, and the other people just kind of look over at her nervously, and it's very funny.
By far, my favorite character of the entire episode was the babysitter that got the address wrong. Okay, so she's a recurring character. She's in other.
She's really just there to deliver one-liners. She has one episode where she's kind of woven into the story, and she makes appearances here and there. We know her name. We don't know a lot about her, but basically she's everyone's last resort as a date. I guess now also as a babysitter. She's called in when basically they have no one else. They call Petunia.
I appreciate that. I'm glad they called her. I'm glad she was
Amy's
available.
late because the babysitter is not on time.
So she
comes into the office with the kids, and we get a call from Petunia from a payphone, And she's like, oh, I went to the right address, but, Earth? I thought you said Zelbar 10B. And she opens the phone booth.
I guess I'll just wait for the next bus to Nutley. She's always going back to Nutley. Where the fuck is Nutley, and how does she keep getting separated from Nutley? It seems like she should just stay there.
Whoa. Let her explore the world, the universe. Don't tell people to stay in their homes.
No, but she always needs to get back to Nutley.
You always need to get back to your little shack in Portland.
I don't need to.
Roz, did you grow up in LA?
No, I grew up in Michigan, but I've been here since 2009.
Oh, cute.
And that's when I
10 years
started.
after Fry got frozen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's when I started becoming a Los Angeles legend, in the words of Jinkx Monsoon.
Listen, we filmed that bingo show that never saw the light of day. That makes you a legend in my eyes.
That's right. That's all I've ever done with you, I think. I need to do more stuff with you, Jinkx.
I know. We need to get bangs together.
Yeah. Here, you can have mine. What if I just unclipped them?
I haven't had bangs in a while. There.
Well, Nick's got those bangs, too.
I do have bangs.
Yeah, he was copying you. He told me. He called me the day he did it.
I'm not going to lie. I do. Roz, did I beat you to the bang? Did I get on the bang bus before you?
I got them for a specific reason. I got them so that people would stop calling me Meghan Markle, because everybody said that I look like Meghan Markle constantly when I didn't have bangs. So then I get these things chopped, into my head.
Chopped on.
Chopped onto my head. And now all I hear is Leah Michelle.
Oh.
Leah Michelle. And then the other one that I keep hearing is whatever that lady's name is with the lipstick that was talking to children on the internet. Colleen Ballinger, whatever the hell. I'm like, can somebody say something nice to me for
Speaking of
once?
Miranda.
Well,
Can I look like somebody nice?
I was gonna say you're giving major Daria vibes today, if that's any better. Like, she's an icon. She's a feminist icon.
No, I'll take that. Thank you.
Well, Roz and I met when we were in a Mean Girls parody produced by Peaches Christ, and you were playing Janice Ian. And I think that mood has persisted through all your haircuts, the Janice Ian energy.
Definitely. Wait, I thought you were in Sheetaljuice.
I was also in Sheetaljuice, but we were not in the same production of that.
Oh, I don't know.
No, we were in Mean Gays together.
Okay.
Who'd you play in Mean Gays? Did you play the hottie? Did you play the dude?
I was Aaron Samuels, yes. And I got very sick like 2 days before the first rehearsal, but I had very little stage time, so I told Peaches I could learn everything in a day, and I did.
Oh, I saw Peaches Christ this weekend. I haven't seen her in a while. I love her. Okay, back to the episode.
So Amy needs a nap.
Amy's struggling.
Yeah, she's going to have Leela babysit the kids.
Yeah.
And then Kiff lands on the distant planet with Zap. And Zap immediately tries to shoot the man who comes up to greet them. And he's like, oh no, I'm out of lasers.
This was, okay, that's hilarious. This was the least expected cameo from a returning character I was expecting.
The whale biologist who hates whales?
The whale biologist who hates whales.
I liked that person.
Did you like him? Yeah. He's
He
fun,
was
right?
funny.
I gotta say, his jokes were better when he hated whales, when he was like, and now for the whale who thinks she's better than everyone else, it's Shmamu or whatever. Like, he had better jokes, but the fact that he is he has a great introductory line. He's like, oh, we've met before. I used to be, or no, whatever he says, but he says, I used to be a whale biologist, so I hated whales, so I changed careers. Well, we're glad you finally found one you like. Nope, still looking. And then he hates bears too. So
And I like when he says, or whoever the other person is says, like, oh, that sounds like a fun job that doesn't pay very well, or something like that. Like, if I had a nickel, which I don't, because it doesn't pay well what I do. Anyway.
The bears that he is taking care of are giant tardigrades. I feel like tardigrades are like the in vogue science thing of the last 5 years, so they had to include tardigrades.
They really had a moment, these tardigrades.
Well, they're quite remarkable creatures.
That is true.
Jinkx.
What?
Why are you talking about tardigrades so positively again?
Again?
Yeah.
When was the last time I talked about tardigrades? Tardigrades, babes.
We're bouncing back and forth between the planet and the babysitting situation. Basically, Leela's getting exhausted taking care of the babies and tires them out by putting them on a treadmill. And the grand midwife looks on and seems to think this is a pretty good thing. And meanwhile, Kiff wants to leave to go help Amy with the stressful situation. But he cannot because Zap has been dragged into a cave by the tardigrades, so he has to go in there and fight them with the laser that it turns out was just off. And that's the only reason that man's not dead. And I thought that was really funny, is that Zap just didn't turn the laser on.
I knew that the candy was going to play a large part in the episode somehow, but I assumed it was going to save the day somehow. Instead, the candy caused a big kerfuffle because Zap's a pig and he's shoveling the candy in his mouth, and the tardigrades smell the honey, and then they want, because bears love honey, as we learned
Bears
from
do love
Winnie
honey.
the Pooh. So
Public domain, make a movie about it.
So Kiff has to save Zap, and Kiff is,
We did skip over when Zap was chewing up the candy and spitting it onto his chest for waxing purposes. Do we have any comment?
No.
I think I skipped over it because it was so gross that I didn't want to talk about it.
It wasn't even gross. It was just stupid. But we had to remember just how foul of a man Zap is and what a jerk he is, and how, Kiff is a saint for being a father of 3 while managing this horrible job.
Kiff becomes like kind of Rambo character and goes in and kills all the tardigrades. As he often does
when he needs to. He's a very gentle person until push comes to shove, and then he's like, he's always kick ass.
Oh. And he is going to go in and save Zap, who's like standing on a little cliff protecting himself from the tardigrades. And he does so by turning on his camouflage reflex. And he's like, I'm going to be a killing machine. And then he kind of neatly takes off his clothes and like folds them in the corner, which I thought was very funny.
So back on Earth, the Grand Midwife reveals that an automatic trial for parentage must occur whenever the smizmar is not the biological mother of, or DNA giver of the children. So this isn't really based on anything other than Leela is the biological parent, Amy is not. But Amy, of course, is in love with the kids. She does not want to lose her kids. Leela doesn't particularly want to be a mom, I don't think. So they have to prepare for this trial. And Kiff, of course, is, they're waiting on Kiff to get back. Is he going to make it back in the nick of time? Is he?
And the Grand Midwife is like, oh, the shame. And then he does show up, and it's like, well, it's still pretty shameful.
It doesn't lessen the shame.
They have to go into the Inquisidome, which is also known as a tiki hut. And it turns out that this very, very complicated test that we thought was going to happen is just the Grand Midwife sitting in there. And she asks, do you love the babies? And they say, yes. Well, Amy says yes. And then that's the whole
that
test.
Matters. And what's so lovely about this is they really didn't beat you over the head with an allegory here, but like, as queer rights are under attack in our country, around the world, we saw just recently, the new president of Italy is trying to remove lesbian mothers from birth certificates of adopted children, so that only the biological mother of the children is considered the parent of the children. We know that progress comes with ebbs and flows and backlash, but I really liked that this episode just says, that's what happens. People try to take kids away from people just because they're not blood related, but at the end of the day, the children should be looked after by the people who love them, not necessarily the people who are their DNA relatives. So I thought that was a really nice message, without being too preachy or too beating you over the head with it.
A couple last minute lines I want to just make sure we don't skip over before we wrap up this recap. The Grand Midwife says, the challenge is a challenging challenge, dating back from when our language had few words. And I really liked that. And there's the part where after Amy passes the test, she pulls a rope and the whole front wall of the Inquisidome falls down. and it seems like it's like supposed to be a big reveal, but then she's like, wait, that wasn't supposed to happen. And then it's like, wait, well then what was the rope supposed to do? It was very funny. And then they all drink treacle out of champagne flutes and look on at the happy family as they hug. And that's the end of the episode, and it's very sweet.
I just realized that I
great.
just did this thing that I do every time there's like more than one host of a podcast where I forget that I'm on it and I just become a listener.
Don't worry. This is normal for our episodes. They're very front heavy. We talk a lot, and then we realize we have to wrap it up, but we still have 20 minutes of an episode to discuss, and then we just plow through. But
So I'm still here, listeners. I became one of you.
she became a very active listener. Listen, Roz, I have some
Do we do the
compulsory.
question?
Yeah,
I have to hit the button.
Yes, I'm just preparing our guest.
Well, don't I hit it first and then you say I have the question?
No, I have to
Then why
prepare
would
the
I,
guest.
What? It's
Please
fine.
don't
Go.
fight.
Okay,
Just go.
Roz, we have some compulsory questions that we ask every
Hey,
guest.
hey, let me ask you
You
something.
didn't tell me when to do it. You didn't say after I'm done. You didn't say how long the thing was going to be.
You can answer them however you like, but they are compulsory. Hit it.
Hey, let me ask you something.
Roz, now that you have seen one episode of Futurama, which character do you relate to the most?
Petunia! Is that what her name was?
Yeah. Petunia.
That's a great answer.
I've gotten an address
Everyone's
wrong
always
a
like,
time or
I'm
two.
Leela. I'm the main character.
I'm Petunia or the Graham midwife.
You know, they're voiced by the same voice actress, so there is a reality in which you could be both.
Yeah, maybe you're just a Tress McNeil all around.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Did you burp?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would have heard if you didn't say excuse me.
That just raises further questions.
I told you I'm going to start doing that.
Roz,
Roz, I'm so sorry.
Roz, next question.
Jinkx, do it.
Of all the characters that you met in the episode, who would you do?
Petunia!
Wow, narcissist.
Yeah. Well, Petunia is very seasoned. She's
She knows
made
what
it
she's
clear.
doing, yeah.
She's made it clear she's very good at what she does.
Now, when you say do, are you including the finger version? Like the two
do
fingers
whatever you want.
touching?
This is assuming like everyone's consensually into whatever.
I said answer the question however you feel. So if you're considering that you're going to get pregnant from touching Petunia's finger as doing it, sure.
I think me and Petunia would have great kids.
Final question for you, Roz. You kind of already answered
That
it.
just raises further questions.
Do I need to get a different one for the third one?
Nick, Roz, Nick.
We need to figure this out. We never talk.
Roz.
We never talk, Mom.
Shut up.
This is the only
Roz,
time that I have with you.
Shut up. Roz, now that you've watched an episode of Futurama, would you watch more?
Absolutely. I'm actually really excited to do so.
Are you going to text us all about it?
If I have your permission,
Yeah.
I would love to share with you my thoughts and
It's
I
an
just
open line, baby.
ooh, I'm just so happy you guys had me here because I want to talk to you guys all the time.
You can. You're allowed.
No, I don't want to bother you guys.
No, we'll have.
Immediately finds an excuse for why not. Okay. Well, Roz, thank you so much. Where can our listeners follow you online? Where can human beings in the real world see you perform and do your things in the real space?
Well, my dream since childhood is to be a social media star. So you could follow me on Instagram at Roz Hernandez, and that is where you could find any dates or whatever going on that I do. But also my podcast called Ghosted by Roz Hernandez, which just recently relaunched on Exactly Right. which is home of my favorite murder. And I talk to celebrities and all kinds of people that I like about their experiences with ghosts and aliens and cryptids and all kinds of crazy shit like that. And go listen to when Jinkx was on. It's a two-parter. I think it was the beginning
I
of
won't
2000.
shut
Because she won't stop talking.
It was
a
so
two-parter
good.
because I just literally made it a two-parter.
No, I loved it. And you're always welcome back. So, yeah, people go check that out.
Roz Hernandez, everybody. Nick, do you have any closing thoughts before we let everyone free?
Now that the show is back, I would like to add some more sound drops to the soundboard. A couple of these sound drops on the soundboard were suggested to me by listeners, so go ahead and slide into my DMs and say which soundboard clips from Futurama you would like.
Are you being serious? Listeners actually reached out to you and gave suggestions for the soundboard?
I remember
we
giving
have
the
enough
person
listeners
credit, but I
for
don't.
that to
I don't.
even happen.
That one is from a listener. Someone suggested that, and it's great. It's very useful. So I just need. We're gonna crowdsource this.
I just
I'm
didn't
very
realize
bad
we
at
had
going through
enough
my
listeners
Instagram DMs, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and
that
read all of them.
people would actually make suggestions.
If you are a 40% listener, please suggest some more sound drops, and also listen to my Degrassi podcast, All About Degrassi with Evan Goodrich. Thank you.
Well, I've got 2 more weeks left of Everything at Stake if you're on the West Coast. We added a second show. Roz, you want to come to? We added a show in LA. Our show on August 8th sold out. So we added a show the day before on August 7th. There are still tickets available on August 7th for Everything at Stake at the Orpheum Theater. Me and my rock band, Roz, we will absolutely hook you up. Just tell me how many tickets you need for the 7th in my DMs, and we'll set it up for you, baby. And then we're almost on the West Coast. So if you're in California, if you're in Portland, Seattle, Spokane, we added a show in Spokane. There's still tickets in Spokane. Anyway, it's the last 2 weeks of Everything at Stake, and then I get to go into hibernation. So it was lovely speaking to both of you. Thank you, listeners, for listening once more. And until next week, have a futuristic day, everybody.
Wow.